Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we're talking transmission line, $2 billion plus worth of transmission line, with Carolyn Barbash, Vice President of Transmission Development and Policy for NV Energy, for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome to the program Carolyn Barbash. She is Vice President of Transmission Development and Policy for NV Energy. Pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for having me here.
So let's start out with a very exciting project, a $2 billion investment by NV Energy in transmission lines. Tell us what this is all about.
Sure. So this initiative is called the Green Link Nevada Project. It's a major initiative by NV Energy, and we really think it's going to transform our state's clean energy landscape for the decades to come. So
what does it do?
So this is a transmission project, and it's multi-purpose. Going to serve many needs in Nevada. It's going to take care of the growing load growth that we have in northern Nevada. It's going to tap into renewable, very high potential renewable areas that don't currently have access to the grid for development. It's going to help Nevada with its renewable energy goals, as well as to cost effectively achieve its carbon reduction emissions goals. And, and as a side benefit, I think it's going to provide a lot of jobs and economic fuel for our economy, which, we can really need that right now.
To say the least. Okay, so let's give us an idea of where does the transmission line go from to?
Okay, well, so this is 5 different transmission lines. The total project consists of 5 different segments. 2 of these lines are going to be 525 kilovolt lines. And the first major, one of the large major transmission lines will go from the Ely area to the Yerington area, basically from a substation called Robinson Substation in Ely out to a new substation in Yerington, for a new Fort Churchill substation in the Yerington, Nevada area. Then there'll be a second segment that goes from Yerington, another 525 kilovolt line from the Yerington area at Fort Churchill down to the Las Vegas area, and will tie into our existing Harry Allen substation. The northern line from Yerington to Ely will be about 235 miles, and the line down to southern Nevada from Yerington will be about 350 miles. So covering a lot of territory, a lot of, again, high potential renewable energy areas to give those areas some access to the grid.
Okay, so does this also go outside of Nevada? Are you bringing in, transmission capabilities from, say, Wyoming into Nevada, or from Nevada into California?
Okay, so these projects themselves are all contained inside Nevada. What we are doing, though, is positioning Nevada to some of the eastern states. Right now, we're very well tied into California and the desert Southwest, and this will set Nevada up to a more, diverse load and resources area of the western states, where there's some resources with different characteristics than Nevada's primarily abundant solar resource, and that's part of really getting to the carbon reduction goals that I was talking about earlier, where we can get to some resources that have, such as wind, which has different characteristics than our solar resources. And they're really complementary and can achieve some carbon emissions goals without investing in new carbon emitting resources.
Okay, so basically you're developing another portion of the Western grid. Is that correct?
Yes, but all the assets that NV Energy is investing in will be located right here in Nevada.
Okay, so one of the things that's been discussed about renewable energy is, as you pointed out earlier, is that it's all over the place in the state. I mean, it's not just in one area, and one of the problems has been getting transmission lines to those various energy resources. So are you anticipating either NV Energy or other companies developing more renewable energy sources in Nevada because they will now have access to these transmission lines?
Yes, and that's one of the main purposes of this line, is to get those areas that don't currently have access to the grid closer to be able to tie into the grid more economically, where Nevada can access those resources, or they can be a source of economic development for the state. Again, as I say, as we integrate closer to states with resources that are complementary, we can do some, mutual beneficially purchases and sales between solar. So that if we have excess solar, for example, during the day in Nevada, we could sell that to another state that doesn't have abundant solar resources. And when our solar is down at night, we can be purchasing resources, renewable resources that actually that are still producing energy, such as wind and hydro.
Okay, so one of the big questions is storage when it comes to power. Is storage part of this equation? Absolutely.
When we filed approval of this transmission project, at the same time we also requested approval for 3 new renewable energy projects in Nevada as well, and a part of those solar projects is storage. And storage has been a very valuable way to store some of that energy, so we can bring back on that solar energy that was produced during the day and use it when the solar plants aren't really producing more energy. So solar's been a very valuable technology for us as well, and we're using it a lot with our new solar plants.
Without getting too deep in the weeds, can you explain, what kind of storage technology and how much of it is available?
No.
Okay, and that's fair enough. That's why I phrased it that way. One of the big issues that's come up, and we'll get back to the Greenlink project in a moment, is these lithium mines. We've got one that's down near Tonopah. We've got the Thacker Pass mine that's up near Winnemucca. NV Energy has not come out in support or against the lithium project near Tonopah. Is there going to be a plan to get involved in that? Because, obviously lithium battery storage are big deals, especially here in Nevada because of Tesla and Panasonic.
Right. Well, I can say we just did a road trip to all the counties where this transmission project crosses, and they all have some exciting new developments in their counties, and we hope that this transmission project will help bring all those to fruition for those various counties. Again, our goal is to support the electric needs of our customers. And we really want them to be their success is our success. And so I can't answer whether we're participating in any project from purchasing assets, but we're definitely there to support their success and their needs for energy.
Okay, so let's take a break. We'll come back. We have lots more to discuss about this huge project, $2 billion, correct?
Yes, a little over.
Okay. Well, we won't worry about the rounding error. We'll be right back.
Things are heating up at the Carson Valley Inn. Win your share of $200,000 through September 26th. Cash and free play every weekend, plus 5 times points Fridays. The good times are at CVI.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
Things are heating up at the Carson Valley Inn. Win your share of $200,000 through September 26th. Cash and free play every weekend, plus 5 times points Fridays. The good times are at CVI.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Carolyn Barbash. She's Vice President of Transmission Development and Policy for NV Energy. And we're talking about the GreenLink Nevada project. And you say it's a little over $2 billion, maybe considerably over $2 billion by the time it's all done.
That's right.
Okay. You wanted to pick up, we talked about this during the break, that there are additional transmission lines to reach some of these, I don't want to call them stranded assets, but assets that are out there you'd like to include in the transmission capabilities.
Well, you asked me earlier about sometimes our energy generation resources happen to be far from our loads. So there might be a geothermal renewable resource area that is very, capable of producing a lot of energy, or an area that's really has a high potential for solar energy development, but that's a long way from the users of that electricity. And so these two projects, these two 525 kilovolt lines, also will include 345 kilovolt lines that will go from the Yerington area into the high industrial load growth areas of Reno, Tahoe Industrial Center and Story County, and really to encourage more economic development and get those renewable resources that we're accessing and giving access to the grid, the ability to serve those loads.
All right, so you've brought up economic development several times now. Obviously we know about the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. We know that there are at least 2 industrial parks going in the Fernley area. There's one that's going to go into the Fallon area as well. We're seeing Pumpkin Hollow in Yarrington. Where else in Nevada do you see, because what you guys do, which is always very interesting to me, is you're like airports and RTCs. You don't plan for tomorrow, you plan for 30 years in the future. So what areas do you see and identify across Nevada as growth areas beyond Reno, Sparks, and Las Vegas?
Well, and the areas that we plan resources will expand by nature, just because there is going to be more economic development in the area with the jobs we provide. When those renewable developments occur, there'll be renewable resource jobs, and just the infrastructure and services necessary to serve the folks that move there, to operate new plants and construct the lines.
Do you see federal government subsidies continuing on, no matter who becomes elected president in the next go-around?
I think governmental subsidies for renewable projects have been very successful, and hopefully they'll continue to be used as necessary to really incent development of new technologies. And they work, and once they work, they may not be necessary anymore. But I can't really speak to. I don't have really good prediction of what the federal government will do. But I think some of the subsidies have been useful in really advancing some of those technologies.
And the cost of solar and wind are dropping dramatically. We had a gentleman on here from Circ Energy who does geothermal and had a lot of exciting projects that were going on right in South Reno.
That's right. And as you know, Nevada and NV Energy was one of the earliest investors in geothermal technology, and it's a great resource. Geothermal is a great base load resource, very consistent in its output. So we'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, more so even than solar and wind, because the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow.
That's right.
Okay, let's take another break. We'll come right back with more on transmission lines, one of the few places where you can discuss this right after this timeout.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. At Design Outdoor, we specialize in all hardscapes, pavers, and walls you'll need for everything, from wonderful small yards to full-blown outdoor living. And we only refer the best contractors to make your vision a reality. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. And a lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Carolyn Barbash. She is Vice President of Transmission Development and Policy for NV Energy. So, of course, a lot of our viewers at this point and listeners are saying, all right, this all sounds great, $2 billion plus investment from NV Energy, but eventually, does the public end up paying for this? And I'm guessing the answer is probably yes.
Well, yes, the transmission investment would go into eventually our general rates for NV Energy. However, this project is a long-term investment. So there are ways to flatten out how those investments get paid for. And really the whole idea behind investing in transmission, it is for the long term. It's so that we can reach resources to better optimize our energy portfolio. And the more choices that Nevada has for purchasing and selling energy, the more stable prices become. So you can't just look at any one segment. You know, transmission is sort of the highway, but the product is the energy. And if we're able to get more economical energy in with more transmission and optimize the dispatch of a large energy portfolio, then hopefully the effect of this transmission project, the idea behind it is to stabilize prices, not to raise them.
Okay, but I mean, are you looking at a payback on this of 20 years, 30 years?
Yes, that's usually the payback on our payback. The recovery of an investment is really 20 to 30 years for transmission investments.
Let's talk about Valmy for a second. Is Valmy going to go offline here in the next couple of years? It's the last coal plant that we've got in the state.
Yeah, that is the goal, to be able to eliminate coal production, energy production from coal in the state if we're going to meet our 0% carbon reduction goal by 2050. And so NV Energy is going to do its part. You know, we have to be smart about this and watch how load growth goes, as well as our ability, again, like I say, to get more diverse resources. Solar energy is great. We're going to have something to back it up when the sun's not shining and the batteries are fully discharged for reliability of service here in Nevada. So, you know, we're going to be smart about the timing of the retirement and time that with load growth, our ability to get more diverse resources in the state via this transmission project and others. But ultimately, that would be the goal.
We saw in the last couple of weeks a request from NV Energy to cut back on power usage in the afternoons and early evenings. And I think a lot of people were surprised that there was any concern of any shortage. What caused that? I mean, obviously, huge heat caused that to an extent, but I think people were surprised that there was even any potential for a shortage in Nevada.
Yes, you know, NV Energy rarely does this. I think it was August 18th. Well, that date's important to utility geeks like me, but yeah, a couple weeks ago, NV Energy issued a request to conserve electricity. And really, it was just as a result of record-breaking heat all over the region. We never voluntarily curtailed power or shut off any of our customers. The California grid operator had to do that the weekend prior to NV Energy issuing this request of its customers. And really, when California started those rolling blackouts the weekend prior, it prompted a lot of the California utilities to go out in advance and buy up the energy market for the next week. And California needs so much energy, it really caused a shortage in the western region, amongst the whole region. And I shouldn't not just California, but all the utilities in the western states were out buying energy in advance.
Okay, and that included Nevada. We were out there on the open market buying energy.
Yes, and you know, when the supply demand equation really drove prices up, So when we got into the time frame of the shortages, our large customers really stepped up and voluntarily reduced their energy usage. And the result was, NV Energy was enabled to buy enough on the market and get some help from our large customers. And there were no involuntary outages.
Over the last few years, we've seen a lot of major businesses look at leaving NV Energy and purchasing power elsewhere, which the private customer is not able to do. But it looks like NV Energy has made deals with just about everybody to stop that. Is that over now, do you believe?
We haven't seen what we were seeing a year or two ago. And we really, NV Energy and has worked really well with the Public Utilities Commission of Nevada to really sharpen our pencil and get creative and competitive to find ways to keep these customers. We think it's good for them. It's good for all of our customers from an economies of scale and an energy portfolio usage. And so we think it's a win-win, and we keep getting better, and really we really want to be the best choice for an energy provider.
And that's where we have to leave it. Carolyn Barbash, pleasure to have you on the program, ma'am. Please come back.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Nevada Newsmakers and become a subscriber. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.